Okay, you're on.
Hi, today we're going to be preparing a eggplant dish. It's my own version, but it's an adaptation of an Indian recipe and an Afghani recipe. The Afghani recipe is usually referred to as biryani eggplant. So what we're going to do is first go over the ingredients and then we will prepare it. So what I've already prepared here are finely chopped onions, and I use whatever onions I happen to have in the house. Today I had a red onion and a white onion, so I used 1.5 onions. I have about 6 cloves of finely chopped garlic, and then about 3/4 inch piece of ginger, also finely chopped. And then I have 2 large tomatoes chopped. And of course, this dish is dependent on the quality of your tomatoes. So a vine ripened tomato is going to be an amazing dish, whereas a greenhouse tomato is not going to taste as great. But it's winter in our neck of the woods, so I did the best I could. The spices that you're going to need are garam masala. Now you can make your own. And we're not going to go over the recipe for that, but I suggest you just purchase it. It can be purchased in most supermarkets these days, but definitely in Indian grocery stores. I have home ground cumin, which I roast in a pan and then grind, and turmeric powder. For garnish, we're going to have chopped green onions, chopped fresh coriander, and sliced lemons. Instead of coriander, what also works really well is chopped mint. Now we're going to use chilies. This is the type of chili I use. They're pretty spicy. I'm going to use 3 of them. You can omit them or you can use fewer of them. Now what I do is I keep my chilies in the freezer, and then I take them out from the freezer and I chop them. They stay really well in the freezer for up to 6 months. But notice I haven't thawed them out. They're still slightly frozen, and I'm just going to chop them frozen. And I do the same thing with ginger, actually. I buy a very large amount of ginger, and I put it in the freezer. I take it out, I grate it, I use it immediately, and stick it back in the freezer. I do not allow it to thaw. So those are a couple of tricks. Now the eggplant was also prepared in advance. For this dish, I used the long, thin Italian eggplants. I took off the top, I sliced them in half, and then I sliced them again, and you can see the pieces here. I brushed each piece with a mix of olive oil, a little bit of salt, and a little bit of red pepper, like a pinch. And then I roasted it at 475 degrees till it was nice and brown. So now we're going to move into the kitchen and continue cooking this dish. Okay, so heat a rather heavy pot. Add a little bit of oil. Feel free to use olive oil. And once it's nice and warm, I've had the pot actually heating for a few minutes already. Add your onions, ginger, garlic, and your chopped red chilies. Now I like to caramelize the onions a little bit. It gives the dish a sweeter taste. So I'm just going to let them just cook here for a little bit. And my stove is it's pretty close to high. Okay, so I want them to brown, so I have the stove on high. Okay, so I've been frying the onions for, I don't know, about 10 minutes. And I think they're now beginning to caramelize. So what I'm going to do is add all of the tomatoes. I'm going to stir that really well. And I'm going to allow that to cook down for a while. Okay, so we have cooked the tomatoes down. This is what it looks like. And now I'm going to add some spices. I'm going to add, let's see, one teaspoon of cumin. Half a teaspoon of the garam masala. And a half a teaspoon of the turmeric. I'm going to add a little bit of salt. Start out with less than you think. You can always add more later. A healthy grinding of black pepper. I'm going to stir it. And now for just a moment, we're going to walk back to the counter that we were at originally. And I'm going to show you what I did to the eggplant. So I took a few strips of eggplant to decorate the pot. The rest of them I cut into rather large pieces. I just cut each strip into half. You don't want to cut it too small because eggplant is very delicate and it's going to just turn into a mush if it's too small. So I'm going to walk back and put this into the pot. I'm going to very gently mix it together. Then I'm going to walk back to my counter. I'm going to put it into this dish. I'm going to garnish it with the green onions, with the coriander, and I'm just going to serve. When I'm ready to serve, I'm just going to lay the lemons on top. People can help themselves to that. And there we go. That's our eggplant dish that you can serve with rice pilaf or with roasted chicken or anything that you might have in terms of your main dish. Enjoy.